maybe first just greet everyone by saying, may the peace, mercy, and blessings from the owner of all peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. It's hard for me to speak from that space. I'm 4 months in, so I'm brand new. But the good thing is that I'm not new to struggle. As a matter of fact, in just a few short days, April 19th, it will be 35 years since the Central Park Joshua case. That being said, I want to read something to you. And this that I want to read is something that I read in prison. I didn't read this before prison, and the most that I read was only the first part of what I'm about to read to you. But it gets into the answer to the question, I think. This means that the prayer is coming in.
Yes.
And if this was my motivational speech, I would tell you that if I was running to the plane pre-COVID, I would get to the next gate, if it was a connecting gate, and I would say, after the gate agent said, you made it, I would say, God is the greatest.
Yes, sir.
And she would probably say, that's right, and give me a high five. Come on down and go on your plane, sir. Thank you. I would then walk down the ramp, and I would get to the front of the plane. I'm not in first class because, sometimes when you get connecting flights, they move things around, especially nowadays if you run it late. So I'm not in first class, but because I was running to the plane, I'm huffing and puffing still, and somebody in first class sees me, and they have their water. They look at me, and I'm looking like I'm in distress. They motion at me, do you want the water? I say yes. I take the water, open it up, I drink a sip, and I say, man, God is the greatest. Hold on, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Can you do that again? I want to go live. Same scenario. Running to the gate to catch my connecting flight. And the gate agent says, wow, sir, you just made it. We were about to close the flight. And I said, what you just heard, Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir.
I just missed my flight. Language is a barrier. And understanding what is being said is important. Which also brings me to what I'm about to say. And so I had to look for this. This is actually in my first published book, not my first book, but my first published book, Punching the Air. And I talk about this moment where we're sitting in a classroom, and it's a book that is loosely based on my story, but really because I was in the process of creating the film When They See Us. I couldn't tell my story just yet. And so this was the kaleidoscope of the people around me. And I talked about a young man named Amal. Interestingly and incidentally, but maybe not so. Amal means hope.
Yes.
They put Amal in jail. They put hope in jail. 13th Amendment, Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States of America except for the punishment of a crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. I read that and I was like, I would go around coming out of prison and I would say, slavery is alive and well. And it was one of my elders, years after I had been saying this, an elder came up to me and said, no, young brother. Slavery is alive and sick. And I had to echo that, and I continue to echo that, because the real part of legislation, the real part of law, like the question, the answer to the question for me comes from the ground up. It comes from the movement, the fact that we are participating, and even if we're not participating, we are participating, because non-participation is participation. Section 2. Section 1 is a doozy. Slavery is alive and sick. Section 1 has no power. Consider Section 2 of the 13th Amendment. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article through appropriate legislation. My job that I've been uniquely prepared for, because I was run over by the spike wheels of justice, because 35 years ago, me and 4 of my comrades were pushed in front of the public as poster children for deviance. My job is to look at things from a different side and add to the greater good. I call it righteous collaboration.
Come on.
And so yes, I'm a city councilman, but my lens that I look through is that I'm not a politician. So therefore, this will not be politics as usual. The lens that I look through is a lens that knows, in fact, with certainty, that we are right now inside of someone's 100 to 300 to 500 year plan.
That's right. That's right.
And so how do we get out? How do we fight back? Right? Oftentimes it's called the criminal legal system, but if you slow it down long enough, you'll understand exactly what it is. It is the criminal legal system. Kind of told on itself.